Just over a week away from the start of Activision-Blizzard's second league, that being Call of Duty League, we have troubles going on in their first league into its third season, that being Overwatch League, and I'm sure a lot of you guys watching have already heard about this. Let's discuss more. Great reports brought to us by Richard Lewis and the like. I will link everything you guys need to know down below, as well as more confirmations of struggles for the Overwatch League, more lies, deception, and now pay cuts as well have been confirmed as the reason why many of the talent have actually left. Puckett, Doa, Monte Cristo, Semler, Malik, and the like, and supposedly more could be leaving for the 2020 season, and we now know kind of why. It was actually hinted at by Malik in a discussion actually covered by my partner Nick about this, where DeFran was targeting Overwatch casters and saying the talent were, pretty much useless and very replaceable, and I didn't really like that. You know, it's kind of a weird thing to see a large portion, or I should say an odd portion of the Overwatch community somehow happy that a lot of their great talent are leaving. That's a discussion for a different time. Malik hinted at that, and now confirmed by Richard Lewis, guys, in his latest reports and by all of his sources, there indeed were pay cuts suggested upon the talent who have now supposedly been leaving the league. Not only those 5, but the remaining talent as well have been supposedly taking 30% pay cuts, which, by the way, is nothing new. This was actually apparently proposed back in Season 1, following Season 1, and it was even not to the knowledge of Nate Nanzer at the time. Apparently, according to Richard Lewis and his sources, guys, there were talent who had to go to Nate Nanzer to try and negotiate better deals after being told they could be taking pay cuts upwards of 30%. They told Nate Nanzer, who at the time, if you guys do not know, was the commissioner of the Overwatch League, and he had no idea that pay cuts were going underway. He then helped those talent negotiate, which, by the way, heading into Season 2, apparently most of those talent did not take pay cuts. They took 5% raises, which is, albeit not that much, given the rise of viewership and the success that Season 1 did see. So the fact is this, now, of course, Nate Nanzer is gone. The former commissioner had no idea the decisions that executives that are running this league were actually making. And if that's not worrying enough, guys, the pay cuts do continue now, apparently into 2020, the year which, by the way, John, also from Overwatch League, one of the executives running it there, he is now taken out to try and say 2018, 2019, we had the best talent in esports, which I guess I could argue, he said the plans are not to change that for 2020, but John, if you do not know this, you've lost a lot of your best talent out there. I would also say LEC, LCS, CSGO, top-notch talent, by the way, compared to Overwatch, but that's my own argument. But he's not the only executive to make some bold statements. We'll talk about that yet again in a minute here. Lastly, again, brought to us by Richard as well, is apparently other issues with the executives running the Overwatch League, which is not all too shocking because Monty stated this in his own release, that being creative issues between him and, of course, the people running the league itself. He cited those creativity issues and a distress for the future of the league itself, and he apparently is not the only talent that had that issue. They also apparently go on to state some pretty, I would say, talking words out there, that it was clear that the leadership had zero to very little respect for the broadcast talent and their experiences, and also on top of that cared very little for their feedback at all. So that, amongst pay cuts, amongst potentially other reasons as well, is why we see many talent out there leaving the league, which, by the way, if you guys are not up to date on this, it's not only talent. There are many teams out there that are also just stressing their concerns, especially when it comes to Contenders teams who have also backed out, a lack of payments for Contenders players. And speaking of players, the ones who actually matter for this league the most, when it comes to a strenuous schedule, an unbalanced game, and on top of that, just retiring overall, several issues. We lose about a dozen players every offseason in the pro scene of Overwatch, which, if you guys want comparisons, just does not happen across other esports. There are many troubles, and they continue for Overwatch League as we head into 2020, but also brought to us by one last character out there. That's going to be good old Pete. You know, earlier we talked about John Spector, his statements about this, saying that yes, 2018, 2019, they had top talent. The plans for 2020 won't be changing. Well, Pete Vlastelica, the CEO and president of Esports at Activision-Blizzard, apparently came out with Esports Observer. I'll try and link it down below. Earlier, the article was actually not working. It was very tough to pull up, but when you do pull it up, you see a quote later on, guys, where he actually this is interesting. If this is true, and he actually did make this statement, he actually goes on to say himself that the property or the league got rid of the casters, not the casters leaving the league. They're putting together some top-notch and the best talent pool for the 2020 season. So, according to his own statements, the president and CEO over at Activision-Blizzard, oversees everything when it comes time for their esports, has stated it was actually the property, it was the league getting rid of the casters, not the casters or talent leaving the league. Monte Cristo taking to Twitter to, of course, combat this and say, no, all of the talent were offered to come back, and we were the ones who said no to you. Obviously, someone here is making the correct and truthful statement. Someone is lying, and I don't really know if I'm going to side with anyone, but I think you guys understand where I'm leaning towards as of right now. The troubles, the lies, deception do continue for Overwatch League 2020, all encompassing, by the way, in the same week or so that Call of Duty League is also starting up. It's going to be a very interesting time. I'll be breaking down all of the updates for you guys here on this channel. What do you think about this? Until next time, take care. Drink some coffee, drink some water, relax a little bit. I'll be back here all day long, all week long, breaking down the news for you guys.